Welcome back to Andersen Acres. It's actually a beautiful day outside, but we're hanging out inside with Capricorn because he actually hurt himself a little while ago. He kind of tore, I can't see it now because he's sitting on it, but he tore a nail. He's fine. He's getting along just fine. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on him, making sure it doesn't start bleeding again. That kind of thing happens, whether it's rabbits, cats, dogs, chickens, doesn't matter. Somebody's always going to rip a nail. But since we're inside anyway, I thought I would talk to you a little bit about what you should do before you purchase your bunnies, before you make a single purchase. Because there are definitely a few things you need to consider before you go out and purchase yourself a bunch of rabbits. The first thing to decide is where they're going to live, inside or outside. We have a few in each, so we have Capricorn and Gemini in the house. There are Holland Lops. They're sweet as can be, and they're quite little. So they stay in the house with us. Okay, they're awesome, and they stay in the house. Our Rexes live outside. You've seen them on video. So you have to decide if they're in or out. They can live in either, but the requirements may be a little bit different. So make this decision early. Designate a spot for them either in your yard or in your house. Once you have your spot picked out, consider how much space you have available. You absolutely need to know how many rabbits can fit comfortably. A healthy rabbit does need shelter. Yep, he absolutely does. But also exercise. There are only so many rabbits you can fit in a given space. So study your area carefully. Hey, buddy. Just a good boy. If you're wondering why he's a grump right now, it's because there's a female Gemini on the other side of that door. He'd like to get to her. But we're not having babies this time of year, so no. You stay here with me. You stay here, you grump. He's a nice guy. He's just kind of grumpy. So there's only so many rabbits that'll fit in a given space, so consider your space carefully. Think about the breed or breeds you've picked. Larger breeds will need more space. You can house 10 dwarf rabbits in the space it takes to fit 5 or more of a standard size. If you want French Lops or Flemish Giants, well, you're only going to be able to fit 2 at most in that same space, because they're huge. So they need huge everything, including huge spaces. If you intend to have a run or play yard for your rabbits, also take that into account. They need space. Not as much space as other animals, it's true, but rabbits can't live in a tiny cage for their entire lives. Not humanely, anyway. We've learned a lot in the last 20 years about proper rabbit care, and sticking them in tiny little rabbit cages is not appropriate. Not anymore. If your rabbits are outdoors, you'll need to consider how to protect them from the weather and from predators. If you live in colder climates like I do, you might need an insulated hutch or building. You probably don't want to heat it because these guys don't like heat. They like to get out of the wind and they like to stay dry though. In the summer, heat and humidity will require ventilation, sometimes even fans. That's not that bad. The worst thing can actually be dealing with predators. Right, man? Can you deal with predators? Predators. He's never seen a predator in his life. He lives with a dog named Whiskey and a cat named Pippin. He's never seen a predator. He doesn't know what a predator is. Here, want that? But predators do present a problem if they're outside. Fencing, hardware cloth, maybe mesh if you have aerial predators will all be necessary to keep your buns safe. Don't wait until you've lost a rabbit to a fox or a hawk. Prevent the losses early. Protect them before it happens. Protect them before you even bring your bunnies home. Think like a predator and do what you can to protect them. Know what predators are in your area. Where we are, it's mostly like a hawk, maybe an owl if it's the right time of day, or a fox. We have coyotes, but they're not really close to the house. The other ones could be. So also think about what you're going to do to keep your guys clean. Okay? Come here. Oh, come here. Oh, come here. Come here. He's like, no. I want to go see Gemini. You can't see Gemini. It's not time. Anyway, so you want to think about keeping your guys clean, because let me tell you, rabbits do tend to smell a little if you don't keep them meticulously clean. So these guys are housed with us in the house. Gemini sleeps on my bed. He sleeps maybe, I don't know, he's maybe 6 feet from my bed in his area. So they have to be meticulously clean. because they're in our house. But even if you're outside, if you have neighbors living close by, consider the location of your little rabbitry. If it's right on the edge of your property and close to a neighbor, they might complain about the smell if you don't keep it clean. Either move your rabbitry to a more suitable location, or my suggestion is keep it very, very clean. Okay? Very clean. My rabbits don't smell, but that's because my son and I clean their houses a lot. If you think your neighbor might have an issue with the smell or location of your rabbitry, then you're going to want to address that very early on. Have a plan before you bring your buns home. Right, buddy? This is a buddy. Just my buddy. If you live anywhere but a rural area, check the ordinances in your area to make sure you can have rabbits. Okay? Rabbits are not usually classified as livestock, but that's not necessarily true everywhere. Some places don't allow livestock, and if rabbits are classified as livestock, you can't have them there. You might be allowed to have your rabbits, but you might not be able to have them without a permit or a license. Come here. Come here, come here. Oh, okay, fine, don't come here. See if I care. He's like, I don't want to sit on your lap right now, Mom. I'm mad at you because you won't let me go out there. Don't eat my paint. Seriously, we had that problem last year. Also, don't eat my book. I know. The mat's getting washed because your little foot bled on it. See, he did bleed a little bit. Not a ton, but enough because you ripped his foot. Want to sit on this? Just don't eat it. So you might want to check to make sure you can have your bunnies where you want, because some areas do have rules. Check first. There might be no rules at all covering rabbits. That's actually pretty common. Yeah, I know you want to go out. But you want to check first. You don't want to have to get rid of your rabbits after you've purchased them, because rabbits are awesome, and you don't want to have to give them up because you fell in love with them already. Yeah, buddy, we love you. So check before you buy your bunnies. That goes for pretty much any animal you're going to get. Make sure you're allowed to have them. Okay, fine. I'm not letting you out, even if you're grouchy. You can be as grouchy as you want. I'm not letting you out there because I don't want baby bunnies. I know you know what I'm saying. Anyway, before you buy your bunnies, before you fully commit to having them running around your yard or your house, consider how much work you'll have to do and whether or not you'll have any help. Rabbits are work. You'll have to clean up after them, keep them healthy, make sure they're fed and watered at all times, socialize them. You just, you don't want jerks running around, so that takes time. If you have help of a family member, that's great, but you might have to do it all yourself. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Start small. You can always expand later. We started with just 3 rabbits, 2 boys and 2 girls and a boy, sorry. We now have these 2, and I've got 3 outside, and we are planning to expand again this year. I'm planning to get a couple of Angoras. We've decided not to pursue Flemish right now. They're just a little too big for our taste. That might change in the future, but we've just decided not to do the Flemish. But anyway, here, you want this? No, you're just mad at me. Okay, whatever. So you might decide that one type of rabbit is not what you want. So you don't want to be unprepared. Okay, so start small. It happens to everyone that you might decide, you might get Rexes and decide Rexes aren't for you. You might get Lops and decide you don't really like Lops. That's fine. But start small, and then you won't have some of the issues that some rabbit keepers run into. You can always expand later. But build slowly, and then you'll know when to stop. If you don't have a lot of time, you probably don't want a dozen rabbits right away anyway. They take work and money. Mostly work and a little bit of money. So you definitely want to take the time to get settled in, to know what's expected, to know what's needed from these guys. Because they are a little bit of work. They're fun and I love them, but they are a little bit of work. Work out the details before you bring home your new furry friends. You'll be really glad you did. We made sure that we knew what we were doing with rabbits because we knew we were getting rabbits. And that was really important to me, that we not be confused or uncertain about our bunnies. We wanted to make sure we knew what we were getting into. So that's my advice, okay? My advice is definitely make sure you know what you're getting into before you get into it. Also, be aware that sometimes you're going to have a very grumpy bunny. This one's grumpy because I won't let him go mate with the female on the other side. Gemini, I saw her paw a few minutes ago. Can I see her paw now? No. But just so you know, sometimes you're going to have a very grumpy bunny. Because sometimes they get very grumpy. You never know what they're going to get grumpy about. But they're going to get grumpy. So that's about it for us here at Andersen Acres. At least for today. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. I'm not sure what we're covering tomorrow. It depends on the weather and the craziness of these rabbits. See you then.